I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to VO Buzz Weekly, the web show all about the voiceover business.
That's right. And on today's show, we have the awesome Bob Bergen, voice of Porky Pig, and a bunch of other stuff. You guys are in for a treat today.
Yes.
Yeah. Not that you're not in for a treat every time we go on, but today is really good.
Yeah. He's a wonderful guy and just so giving.
Yeah, really
You're going to learn a lot. We got a tip of the week.
Nice. Tip of the week. Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, you win. Who wins?
There you go.
Whoa.
Okay, so I know this has happened to you when
Yes.
you've had people come in to your studio, but this has happened to me too. The whole how you prepare for a session physically, right? So, you have to bathe and groom, okay? But the perfume and cologne, when people put on perfume or cologne to go to a session or to an audition, it's not a good idea, you guys, because it's really strong and you're in a small space and you may be in there for minutes or maybe hours. And so it's not considerate to the other voice actors, to the engineers, the writers, everybody there when you leave. It may be the most beautiful perfume or cologne and super expensive, but it's just a good idea not to do that and be considerate of everybody's nasal passages in their throat, because I've had sessions where like my nose gets a little runny.
Yeah, well, that's a really good tip because people don't really think about that too much. But definitely shower. If you're going to go into a studio, somebody else's studio, not in your home, you can do whatever you want at home. Definitely shower, use deodorant. Yeah. That's it. No jingles, no perfumes, no powders.
Right.
Keep it simple.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. Okay, so Campbell sent us a really nice email.
Yes, he did.
He's a new viewer to the show, so welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you, Campbell.
And he said, I have just completed a VO Buzzathon. Couldn't stop watching after the first show. You guys rock, and I have loved every guest on the show so far. I've been doing VOs for more than 40 years. Wow. But I've learned a ton of stuff with every episode, not to mention the inspiration from the great stories. Keep up the great work and the great guests. Can't wait for the next show. That's so cool, and congratulations on an incredible 4-decade career and still going.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and it's so great that we've actually had a lot of pros in the business contact us and saying, man, it's amazing how we can still learn from our peers. And so I know that if the pros are learning stuff still, that all you other people out there that aren't there yet, where you want to be, you will, but that aren't there yet are definitely getting some good teachings from the guys that we're having and the girls that we're having on the show. So keep watching and you'll learn a lot more.
Okay, Chuck. It's time.
Let's do it. We're very excited about this. All right, ready?
Very excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
We have a sponsor.
We have a sponsor.
A healthy sponsor, because we're about health here.
Yeah.
Okay. We have something called the Nejla's Body Good Buzz Bars. These are amazing.
They are.
They are a vegan, protein, fiber-rich bar, which I know some of you went, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No. They're made with oats and sunflower kernels and sweetened with maple syrup. It's natural. It's so delicious. And they are sponsoring us.
Yep.
So you can go to our website and get your Buzz Bars from there, or you can go to the company name, which is nejlas.com.
Yep.
And if you go to her website, you have to stay, because they have organic
everything.
Confections, Belgian chocolate brownies. It's just
chocolate chip cookies. They send you the dough. You cook it yourself.
So if you're a crunchy cookie person, you keep it longer. You're a soft cookie person, everybody's
incredible.
happy. No one's fighting over the cookie.
And the reason why we have these is because we actually eat these all the time when we're on the go, and they're healthy and they taste great. And we were like, wow, wouldn't it be so cool if this became like our official bar? And now it is.
See?
So we're so excited. Nejlas.com. They're on our website. There's an ad on our website. Just click on that. It'll take you right to them.
And have to try them.
You got to check them out. They're so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We've had our Buzz Bar. Now we need our Bob Bergen.
That's right. And here we go.
Okay, you guys, this week we have a Daytime Emmy and Annie Award nominated actor who has been heard in movies like Dr. Seuss's The Lorax, Tangled, and Toy Story 3. And he does the voices of the Looney Tune characters that we all know and love so much, like Porky Pig and Tweety and Speedy Gonzales, just to name a few. He is the voice of Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars video games, and with all that spare time, he goes on the road and does his one-man show and is celebrating his 25th year of teaching. Wow. Okay? We are so excited to have with us the amazingly gifted, talented, and just all-around awesome guy, Bob Bergen.
Bob Bergen.
Can I just say how impressed I am with the homework you guys did? I'm going, that's right. That's
Check.
That is right.
Check.
Oh wow, that's so. Bless your heart. Thank you.
Hey, you know what?
My code name is Nancy Drew.
Yeah, that
is.
is her code name, but
Yeah.
if somebody as important as you and even
Oh
all
my
the guests that we
gosh.
have on the
I'm
show.
this much afraid of what else you know, but we'll talk.
We know a lot of
talk.
stuff. Let's
All
put
right.
it this way. We know stuff that we probably are not going to talk about
Yes.
because
When
you
the
won't like
cameras
us
are
then.
when the cameras are off, we'll talk.
Bob, thank you for coming down to VO Buzz
you, guys.
Weekly
Oh,
and
My pleasure.
chatting
My
with
pleasure.
us.
I'm a fan. I watch.
Thank
I love
you.
your stuff.
Very, very cool.
I
man.
learn.
You learn. You learn.
You know,
the
when-
pros learn.
When an actor can watch, car went by. I'm just saying it's a
Hold for sound.
motorcycle. When another actor can watch one of their peers and go, "Wow, that's great stuff." So you guys rock.
Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much, man.
you.
That means a lot to us.
Thank you.
We do this for.
Let's teach people.
Yeah,
you go.
We
Let's
do
go.
this. We do this for a few reasons. Number one, because it needs to be done.
Right.
Number two, there are people all over the world that don't have the privilege that we have of being in a place like Los Angeles,
Sure.
Yeah.
to where we have people like you walking down the street and say, "Hey, Bob, can you teach me how to?" Right.
got an hour?
Right.
So
Right.
this is our way and our contribution to bringing the big guys and the big girls to them and having them have a little stage or a forum where they can actually see and even be with and be able to connect with
And
what you guys have to say.
We're worldwide, aren't we?
We
Anybody
are
with a
worldwide.
computer can see
Exactly.
this.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Wow. Big
Hi,
time.
China.
Yeah. Hey, E-channel, eat your heart out.
There you go.
We are global.
So yeah, we are global. So I want to start out by asking you something that I'm sure nobody's asked you, but it's an important
Okay,
question.
all right.
And that's, tell us how you got started in VO.
Gosh, I've never been asked that
I know.
today.
Yeah.
Well, I was a weird kid who wanted to be Porky Pig at 5 years old. That was my goal in life. Some people want to be an actor. Some people want to be a dancer. I had a specific character in mind, and we lived in the Midwest.
At 14, you
At
had
five.
this at 5.
At 5, I wanted to be Porky Pig.
Holy Toledo.
And did
Yeah.
you tell anybody this?
Well, I told my parents.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you're a kid, you
What
tell
was
your
their reaction?
Well, my mom said you can't be Porky Pig. You're Jewish.
You're gonna be the kosher Porky
and
Pig.
I were a little oy vey.
That is
But I
funny.
remember my mom at we were in St. Louis and she was at the sink and I was watching a cartoon and I walked into the kitchen. I said, I want to be Porky Pig, and she said, you can't, you're Jewish. Without looking or cracking a smile, I went back inside. Had no idea what that meant because in our house we had a Christmas tree next to a menorah. So I mean, you know, we had Christmas ham. So I'm Jewish.
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 Nice.
Okay.
So my mom came back in the kitchen, in the living room. I was watching cartoons, and she said, "Why are they running the cartoons twice?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I keep hearing the same cartoon over and over again." I said, "No. You're hearing the cartoon, then you're hearing me," because I was imitating what I was hearing.
Wow.
So I had this gift of gab. I wanted to do Porky Pig. I figured out how he stuttered. There's a formula to his stutter. I can teach it to you guys. I don't know how much time you've got. Can I
We
teach
have
you?
a lot of
Yeah.
time.
You want to learn how to do
Yeah.
Porky
Yeah,
stutter?
yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. So if
Well,
you're,
they
it a-
want to know.
all right, you want to learn how to do Porky Pig? All right. So say the word boy.
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 Okay, good. Now, this is the same formula for every word, and it helps if you count it out with your fingers, okay? Because there's 4 sounds and then the word. So go
Eh.
ebba.
Ebba.
Do it slowly or you're going to get really messed up.
Ebba.
Ebba be.
Ebba be.
Ebba be e.
Ebba be.
Ebba be e boy.
Ebba be. Boy.
See, you already messed it up.
Ebba boy.
Ebba be e boy.
Ebba be boy.
Perfect. Now, that's the formula. Now,
Okay.
Wrinkle your nose so it gets kind of nasal, all right?
Yeah,
And go,
yeah.
ebba bit boy.
Ebba be. Boy.
good. Now, on the third sound, push it out a little bit more.
Ebba bit boy.
Ebba be. Boy.
Good. New word, dog.
Edda dit dog.
Edda dit dog.
Good. Catch. Eka kit catch.
Eka kit catch.
Close.
Wow.
Close. Eka kit catch.
Eka kit catch.
Perfect. Now, full sentences.
The boy played a catch with the dit dog.
Go.
The boy baby catch me.
We call that job security. But that.
Well,
but
I'm
that,
not Jewish, but I'm a girl. I'm Porky Pig.
Petunia.
Porky Piglet.
Petunia.
Porky.
But that's the formula.
A glass. It's a chair. A boy, a girl. A camera. People.
That-
Millions of people.
So that's the formula.
You're not going to learn this at your local 7-Eleven, folks.
Yeah.
And if you do, I'm at 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
I hope.
If you do,
I
Bob
hope.
will be there.
I
But
hope.
don't put it on your demo because you've already got that job.
Well,
so
well, here's the thing. I mean, people always ask me, should I practice classic characters? And they're like, well, you did. You know, you're right, I did.
Yeah.
Longevity in this business, as you guys probably know, is originality.
Yeah.
Originality in character, but also originality in just who you are. Commercially, what can you bring to the copy,
Right.
to the table that is a part of you? Sure, if you do a great Mickey Mouse, Scooby-Doo, Porky Pig, Fred Flintstone, it's going to come up. So keep it in your hip pocket. I wouldn't market yourself as the person who just does classic characters, because chances are it's not going to be your time when you send it out, but it might be. So I wanted to be Porky Pig. We moved to LA when I was 14, not for me to be Porky Pig. My parents moved here. I mean, with the kids, they didn't leave us in the Midwest. They said, you're moving with
well,
us.
that was nice. You have good
Yeah.
parents.
And I just thought I should call Mel Blanc and give him, I mean, I figured nobody has called the man and said, hey, buddy, I know, listen, I'm sure you're ready to retire, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to retire. I thought I was being very generous in doing that. So I looked in my phone book. We lived in Tarzana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find him. And my mom says, you know, LA's bigger than where we were in the Midwest. There are lots of phone books throughout the Midwest. So, well, how do you get them? I mean, there are lots of phone books in LA as opposed to the Midwest. I said, well, how do you get them? So my dad traveled to every post office, and he got from Beverly Hills to Pasadena to Burbank to Malibu.
Beep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I had a stack of white page phone books.
Wow.
And I called everything that said Mel or M blank.
Oh my
And I couldn't find his, at least I didn't know that.
And did your dad know what you were up to?
Well, sure, because he got the phone books
Yeah.
for me.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
going to say, man, wow, what a cool dad.
Yeah.
Well, or he thought nothing's going to happen from this.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
the boy's
it's gonna be
odd. He wants to be a stuttering
overwhelming.
pig. Let's placate him a little bit.
If
Yeah.
nothing else, we'll just read the phone book in the Porky Pig voice.
Exactly.
Maybe he'll get over it.
Yeah.
At
So-
least you're reading, so
well,
that's
and
good.
I was being productive and not getting in trouble.
Exactly.
So I couldn't find Mel Blanc under his name, so I thought, well, I'm going to look under his wife's name. Maybe it's under his wife's name. And I found E. Blanc in the Pacific Palisades, and it was him. And I called up the phone. It was funny because I taped the conversation. I bugged it. Don't try this at home, kids. It's completely illegal to bug the conversation.
Yeah.
But I did, and it's over 30 years, so what are you going to do?
Now,
The statute of limitations
now,
has
hold
run
on.
I
out.
think so.
Yeah.
I think
Just
so.
really quick, before you continue with that,
Yes.
is it okay if we play a little clip of that?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
Check
not
this
cops?
out.
Listen to this.
Hello? Is Mr. Blank there? One moment. Hello. Mr. Blank? Yes. My name is Bob, and I'm interested in doing voices for cartoons.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could give me any advice on how to go about it and all.
How did you get my number?
Well, I used to live in Cincinnati, and I saw show called Wonderama, and you mentioned your wife's name was Estelle.
Oh, yeah.
And I was looking for your name in the phone book, and I saw Mrs. Estelle, and I just figured that was your wife.
Yeah. Tell me, have you created any voices, or do you just do impressions or impersonations?
Well, I've got one voice. It sounds like this, but when you were if you were working in a studio, and did they tell you that when you were doing Bugs Bunny, did they say "What's up, Doc" and talk like that? Or?
No, they just actually showed me a cartoon, a picture of the character they're going to use in the cartoon. They tell me what he's going to do in the cartoon, then I have to create the voice for him. I tell you, it's not an easy business to get into. How old are you?
14.
14.
Yeah.
Well, it takes an awful long time to get established.
Did you need a agent when you started out?
Yes.
Did you?
Well, at the time I didn't, but it took me a year and a half to get an audition.
Oh, did it?
If I would have had an agent, I could have got in much quicker.
Wow. Was that freaking insane or what?
Well, I mean, I think when you're 14, you don't think not to do something. You just do it. You just dive in and do it.
I guess so, man. You sounded fearless.
Now, I listened to that tape. Thank you. I listened to that tape like every single day for 2 weeks, and then the tape broke.
Oh no.
And I was devastated, and I threw it away. And my mom retrieved it from the garbage can, and she goes, well, maybe someday somebody can fix these things. And she put it in her dresser drawer. And like 7, 8 years ago, she calls me up and she says, I was cleaning my dresser drawer, which shows you how often she cleans her dresser drawer.
Yeah, right.
And she said, I found this tape that says phone call with Mel Blanc. So I took it to a buddy who was able to splice it back together, digitally enhanced it, and that's what I put on my website. But because it broke, a chunk of it is still missing. So here's the part of the conversation that was missing. During the course of the conversation, I said to him, are you still doing these cartoons? And he said, no, we're not doing the cartoons anymore. We shut those down in the 60s, but I'm still doing the characters. This week we're recording an Ice Capade show with the Looney Tunes. I said, oh, at Warner Brothers? And he said, no, it's a studio in Hollywood called Bell Sound. I went, oh, okay, great, well, thank you. So I hung up the phone, called Bell Sound, and I pretended to be his assistant. And I said, yeah, I'm calling to confirm Mel Blanc's appointment for Thursday at 9. And they said, well, we have him on the books for Wednesday at 11. I went, I'm sorry, you're right. Wednesday, I'm looking at the wrong page. Thank you very much. So I told my mom, look.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home.
Do not try this at home.
Bob Bergen.
I told my
end up in
mom,
jail.
I'm skipping school on Wednesday. You're going to take me to watch Mel Blanc work. And she said, cool. So when we got to the studio, I told the receptionist that we were guests of Mel Blanc, and she said he's in there. And I walked into his recording studio, and I told his producer that we were friends of the receptionist. She said it was okay to come in. And she said, have a seat. And I watched the man work. And it was like, you know, if you're whatever profession you're in, if you're seeing your mentor, the guy or the woman that is it for you, I could have died that day happily. Wow. Just to watch the man work.
Well, I'm just impressed you didn't get arrested.
I was 14.
For this
I was
various
14.
string of...
Now, did you get to say anything to him at that meeting, or
Kind of.
When
it was
So you didn't get to say, oh, I'm the young man that called you.
I did. Well, here's what happened. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but many of his characters are sped up electronically.
Yeah.
I mean, Daffy Duck and Sylvester are pretty much the same voice, but Daffy is sped up. I didn't know that at 14.
Okay.
He did Tweety at the session, and I'm like, oh, he lost it. Now, you have to understand, he had a cigarette in this hand and oxygen in this hand. And he would go,
Yeah, that's all, folks.
and that's how he did his voices, between oxygen and cigarettes. So I thought, well, maybe Tweety's not as good because he's dying a little bit.
And please tell me you don't do that, your sessions that way
I
now.
do not smoke.
Very good.
I do take
And
a hit of
neither
oxygen,
should
but it's
you.
natural.
Neither
It's
should
natural.
you.
Yeah, but they played his tape back of Tweety, and it was perfect. And I said to the producer, what did you do? And she said, we sped his voice up. I said, when did you start doing that? She said, as soon as he got the job in the 30s. So when it came time to meet him, I wanted to say something like I was in the know, like I'm part of the club, like I knew they sped your voice up. Or I didn't know they sped your voice up, I learned that. I wanted to say something cool, but what came out of my mouth was, you're not as good as I thought you were. And I'm like this.
Who the hell is this kid? Get the hell out of here.
And my mom right next to me, I can feel her going like this, oh God, oh God. And I said, oh, I didn't mean that. What I meant to say was, I didn't realize that some of your characters, you need help. No, not help, not. And with that, he whips out a pad of paper, signs his autograph, hands it to me, and says, quit while you're behind, kid. And he walked away, and I was like, well, I got his autograph.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the communication conversation we had.
Yes.
But as he was walking out, I went, I'm the kid who called you. And my mom goes, I don't know if stalking the man is going to make things better.
Quit while you're ahead, little
Yeah,
Bobby.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So that's kind of sort of how I met
Yeah.
him.
Well, so what was it like? What was it, 1990 that you started doing Porky Pig?
First job, yeah.
What was that like to step into such an iconic character? Were you intimidated? Obviously, you had prepared your whole life for this moment, but what did it feel like for you?
All the above. All the above. Drive. I remember we were, it was a studio on Magnolia near Hollywood Way, and it was Tiny Toon Adventures. That was my first job. And I just remember driving there going, wow, this is really happening. This is really happening. And June Foray was in the session. She was doing Granny. I was doing Porky and Tweety. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. But you know what? I mean, this is what now, 22 years later. Every time I work at Warner Brothers, I drive on the lot with I don't believe I'm doing this.
Wow.
That's never left me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big deal, man, you know?
Well, I think those of us who work in this business, and I've, you've interviewed the best of the best. I think all of us really go, man, look what we get to do.
Yeah.
Look how, I mean, I take nothing for
gratitude is
granted.
very,
Every
yeah.
day of my life, I have nothing but gratitude that I can do for a living, what I got in trouble for as a kid.
Yeah.
And I know I'm stealing Rob Paulson's line, but it's
no,
very
that's
true.
a lot of you guys'
Yeah.
line.
Or maybe
Yeah.
it's something about the Midwest,
Maybe
Michigan,
there's a lot
Ohio.
Ohio, yeah. Nancy's from Ohio,
right?
I believe. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of us from the Midwest.
Jim Cummings.
Yeah.
Townsend Coleman. There's a lot of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys were, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Something about Ohio.
I don't know if you ever answered my original question, was how you got
Jewish.
started in the
I told
business.
you. Well, okay. So, I couldn't be Porky Pig because Mel Blanc was still doing it.
Right.
Yes.
So I called Hanna-Barbera, and I said, listen, I want to be Porky Pig. I know you don't do Porky Pig, but Mel Blanc's still doing Porky Pig. I can work for you. And they referred me to a guy named DAWs Butler. And DAWs Butler was every voice Mel Blanc wasn't.
Right.
So I studied with DAWs, as well as anybody that offered a class, for years. I mean, I took my first class when I was 14. When I was 16, I met a lady at a party who was a bank teller, and she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be Porky Pig. And she said, I find that odd. So remember her. I'm going to go back to her in a second.
Okay.
I find that odd.
Bank teller.
2 years later, I'm graduating high school. A friend of the family knew Casey Kasem and asked him to send me an autographed picture for my high school graduation. He sent me a picture. I wrote him a thank you note. Casey Kasem, thank you. P.S. I want your job. And I put my phone number down, and he called me
I will
up.
be calling you. I will be going to your session.
He called me, and I said, hello. And he goes, hi, Bob, it's Casey Kasem. And I said, that is the worst impression of Casey Kasem I've ever heard. Who is this? He says, try this. Hey, Bob, it's Casey Kasem. I went, dude, you were so Casey Kasem. But I realized that he kind of puts Casey Kasem on when he's not being Casey Kasem.
Right.
So he asked me a whole bunch of business questions. Do you have a demo? I thought he said, does your member sag? I thought, what a personal question from Casey Kasem. I think he said, are you a SAG member? I said, look, I just want to be Porky Pig. I'm trained. He said, make me a homemade demo of as many characters as you can do. I gave it to him. He gave it to his agent, Don Pitts. Don Pitts called me up and said, I want to represent you. That same week, remember the bank teller?
Yes.
She calls me. That same week, 2 years after meeting her, and says,
Your check bounce, sir.
close to it.
No!
Close to it. No, she said, I think I might have a job for you if you still want to do cartoons. I said, at a bank?
Yeah.
And she said, well, I don't work at a bank anymore. To make a long story short, I'm now the head of talent for Marvel Productions.
Holy Toledo!
Wow.
Timing and who you know.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we're doing a new cartoon called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Would you like to come down and audition? And I said, okay.
I have goosebumps.
And I went down, I auditioned for it, got me my SAG card. I called the new agent, Don Pitts, and I said, I'm working, here's 10%. And then I worked for 5 years as a tour guide at Universal Studios going, look, a shark, to eat,
Oh, you
to pay
must
the
have been
bills.
fun. Your bus must have been really fun to be on. Did you do all your voices?
You know what?
Or did you restrain?
I got in trouble one time for doing voices. I got in trouble for not doing voices.
Oh, interesting.
Because one of my first jobs in the business was a movie called Gremlins.
Yes.
And it was filmed on the back lot at Universal.
That's right.
And I had a big callback one day after work, and this executive came up to me and said, your tram is occupied by MCA executives. Would you do the gremlin giggles and whatever? I said, you know what, I can't because I'm saving my voice for this big callback, but I'll be happy to do it for him after the tour. I got written up for insubordination. And then one time I got written up for doing voices on the tour, and the notice said, you were more entertaining than the tour. And I said, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
So-
Something's wrong there.
It's called paying your dues.
Oh my goodness gracious.
But I just love, I mean, you have known who you are and
Or who
what
I
your
wanna be.
lane
Yeah.
is.
I'm not quite sure who I am, but
Yeah,
I know
he
who I
doesn't- he
want to be.
still doesn't know
No,
who
but
he
I
is.
mean, you have known where you want to be and what you want to do, and you have just never let your eyes vary from that.
Pretty much.
Can you teach us really quickly, if maybe a trick that you have on how to create new
How
voices?
to create characters?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I've got a few golden rules of how to create characters. Number one is if you physically play the character, the voice will follow. So when you have an audition for a cartoon, you'll see a picture
Yep.
and a description and the dialogue. First thing I tell my students is look at the body language of that character, the posture, the facial expression. If you change your facial expression, like if you have a character with a pronounced underbite, stick your jaw out.
Yeah.
Oh, don't change your voice, but your SH become SH. You can hear the air traveling through your teeth and your cheeks differently from when you talk normally.
Yeah.
So if you got the character who's talking out the side of its face, sort of like this, you know, and it says he's a New York cab driver.
I'm a New York cab driver talking out of the side of my face.
Or it could be a lower New York cab driver talking out the side of my window. So if I do that right here, it's not going to be the same as if I do this.
Yeah.
Just moving the facial expression takes you out of the equation. There are three things that make up a character: the voice you choose, your acting choices, and what's called a signature. And the signature is that little something extra that you bring to the character that makes it memorable. It's something as simple as this. It's an accent, it's a dialect, it's a catchphrase. But people like Tom Kenny, Tom Kane, Jess Harnell, these are people who look at a script and it's their instinct. It's almost like organic for them to create a character with a signature because that's how talented they are.
Right.
But the script is a skeleton, you've got to give it a voice. And all characters have a voice, but not all voices have character. It's all about personality, not about the sound of the character. It's that little something extra that will nail the character and make it memorable.
Life.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the problems I see, or hear, I should say, with most people pursuing animation is I'll hear their demos, and I'll hear these characters that aren't original. Nobody needs another witch. They need an original witch.
Yeah.
Also, I can hear the actor is not relating to a scene partner. They're not thinking, who am I talking to? What is my relationship with this character? Where are we? Exactly. And all these things, I mean, they're actor things, but we're actors.
Yeah.
So, if you take
this tough New York cabbie, talks like this, and he says, so hey buddy, where to?
as opposed to, I've now decided that my fare is on the street corner, I gotta roll down my window.
Hey buddy, where to?
Okay, so all these choices have to be made, whether it's an audition or the job itself. Most actors don't. And you've got to think like an actor because it's acting.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Do you teach, and just quick little answer to this because I'm going to say something right after it.
All right.
Do you do one-on-ones?
Yes. No, yes I do. Yeah.
You do one-on-ones?
Private classing? Private coaching? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, you guys just got a private class with Bob Bergen, which he doesn't do every day.
I take PayPal.
On film. He takes PayPal. Hey, we do have a donate. Donate to
Oh,
Bob.
there you go.
Donate to Bob. He needs money.
Put Bob in the subject
There you
line.
go.
We will make sure it gets.
Money's dropping out of his
Oh
pockets.
my gosh,
but
thank
he
you.
Still needs
There
money.
you go.
He drives a money truck in case anyone needs to know.
Yeah,
I
Brinks.
rent one. Yeah, I do privates, I do workshops, I teach all over the country, so. Yeah.
That's great, man. Really, really, really cool.
It's fun.
Are there any character types in animation that are really your must-haves that you need to have in your arsenal? I mean, obviously the specific character from whatever the show is and the drawings that you're speaking of, but just having that kind of specific real guy, wacky girl, whatever. Is
That
there
are just
anything?
part of my repertoire? It's interesting. Today I auditioned for a baby. And, a lot of times you don't know if, the baby's real, if it's a sound effect, if it's an actor.
Right.
Sound effects can't act.
Right.
So they hire actors to go to the set and be the baby on a soap opera. And I was really thrilled that my agent sent me this because they don't often think of guys for this, but I do a lot of babies for commercials and toys and soap operas.
Let's hear your baby laugh.
I'm a grown-up man.
That is good.
I do birth
You're
to
freaking
6.
out the crew right now. They're like,
He does birth to 6.
I do birth to 6 months. And
Birth to 6
I do
months.
birth to 6 months, and then I jump to 16, vocally. Wow. I know.
Wow.
So, but that's one of my go-to
Yeah.
sort of things. I think of myself as a character actor. I don't think, oh gosh, here's my stable. I love being challenged. I love seeing the script going, wow, I'm so not right for this. What can I do with it?
Right.
How can I make me right for this?
Right.
We're actors, we like to create.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite characters that you do?
That I've done?
Yeah.
Certainly Porky. All the Looney Tunes I've done. Porky, Tweety, Marvin the Martian, Speedy Gonzales,
What does Tweety sound like?
He's a little birdie. He's also sped up. Remember that from the
right.
earlier quip. He teaches that big old pretty test, Sylvester.
Marvin the Martian, I'm going to blow up the Earth. It obstructs my view of Venus. Oh, Peachy, here we are online. Isn't that lovely?
I love Henry Hawk.
He's a chicken hawk. He's about this big and he's looking for a chicken. Are you a chicken or a dog? You gonna come along quietly, or do I gotta get tough with you?
Sylvester Jr. is one of my favorites.
Oh,
yeah,
yes. Well,
he's
he's a
awesome.
cat. I love anything cat.
Oh, Father, I'm full ashamed. My own father can't even catch a giant mouse.
Now, Sylvester Jr., there's no Mrs. Sylvester.
Yeah.
We don't
Right.
know where he came from.
Wow.
But do we really know where Sweet Pea came from?
No.
No, he just popped up one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks like olive oil. I'm just saying. He does.
You never know.
He does.
I don't know. Those crazy cartoon
So the Looney Tunes certainly. Oh my gosh, I've done obscure characters that people go like. They wouldn't, unless they stay for credits, they don't even know it's me. Like Bucky the Squirrel in The Emperor's New Groove was a fun character. I got that. I was just hired to do the film. They told me I was going to play a squirrel, and I got to the session, and Mark Dindal was the director. And I said, what are you looking for this character? And he's like, I don't know. But he doesn't speak English. He speaks squirrel, and Patrick Warburton translates. So I said, give me a few minutes. I walked outside, and Disney is like a park. It looks like a beautiful park. Yeah. I'm sitting on a bench. And I swear to you, this little squirrel walked up on his hind legs, looked at me, and he went, and I went, thank you. And I walked back up into the studio, and I went, he went, perfect. So that's how I came up with that character. So if the squirrel's out there with a computer watching, I thank you.
Bob.
I owe you much more than 10%.
That wasn't an accident.
Inspiration comes anywhere, people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
What's the most important thing that an actor can do besides having, a great demo to promote themselves?
Definitely a website. I'm marketing all day long. If I'm not auditioning or working outside my home studio, I am at my computer marketing. I didn't have the internet when I was starting out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all at your fingertips. For instance, I do a lot of promos. I go to Promax every year. Promax is a big promo convention.
Right.
Yeah.
It costs a fortune to get in. Here's my secret. I don't pay for the convention. I just hang out at the bar. Because everybody's going to go there throughout the day. And you look at the tag that says CBS Comedies. I'm like, hi, I'm Bob Bergen. Nice to meet you. Because I want to be the voice of CBS Comedies. And you schmooze. I think the thing that most people need to do that they don't do is be specific.
If they don't hire him, he stalks them.
A little bit. Be it at home or at the bar.
Calls them at the wee hours.
That's right. I call them at decent times, but I don't hang up. You got to be specific about what you want. Yeah. Most people aren't. They just say, I want to work.
Right.
Everybody just wants to work. And now I was specific with a character that I wanted to be. Yeah. That's crazy specific. Yeah. But let's say you want to be the voice of CBS Comedies. Okay, this is what I call backwards thinking. And when it comes to marketing, most people start here and go, well, I've got
Joe Cipriano.
Joe Cipriano, you're my hero. He is. He's brilliant.
He is brilliant.
We love Joe. You can't take Joe's job.
Is it up? Can I audition for it? Most people start here and say, I just want to work. Start at the top. The top would be, I'm the voice of CBS Comedies.
Right.
How did you get that job? Oh, I tested for it, the one step below. Why did you test for it? My agent sent me on the audition. Why did your agent send me on the audition? Because my agent knows I want this job. Well, how does your agent know you want that job? Because I'm with an agent that has a promo department. How did you get that agent? Because I had a promo demo. How did you get the promo demo? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can read this. This is a guideline. This is something tangible, goals that you can achieve. Yeah. If you don't do this, you're just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping.
And that's not going to happen.
No, you got to be real specific.
Waiting for it to come to you.
And you've got to be a good business person, and you've got to be strategic in your business.
Yeah. What role do you think that social media plays in promotion and marketing for an actor? Huge.
If there is a cartoon or a producer I've never worked with, first thing I do is, are they on Facebook? Friend them. I love your work. That's it. As simple as that. I love your work. Thank you very much. Whatever. Associate producers, writers. I mean, all the people behind the animation.
Yeah.
Social networking is a way to get connected with them. I can tell you right now, there are like unknown writers in animation who would be thrilled to get a fan note on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes.
But something simple, just want to let you know I'm a big fan of your work.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's and friend each other. So then, when you get to the point in your career where you've got that demo, I'd like to send you my demo. Sure, absolutely. And you network with them throughout your career, and you gather this group as your network, and you nurture it.
Right.
But we didn't have this when I was starting out. It's a blessed time to try to get into this business. And the other thing is, when I got into the business, nobody was doing cartoons theatrically. Disney would do one and they would bomb each time. There were 3 networks. They had Saturday morning cartoons, but that was it. Now there's 5,000 channels. There's Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel. Yeah. Every studio's doing animated features. There's more work today than there ever was.
Yeah, and then you have the whole new media.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. This is the best time in the world for anybody to go into voiceover because there's more opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have time for this week, you guys. Thanks for watching.
That's right, and be sure you tune in next week for part 2 of the Bob Bergen interview. You're not going to want to miss it.
And send us all your questions and comments, plus like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at VO Buzz Weekly. You guys take care out there, and just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.